Jason Dahl here, and I am joined by my father and my grandmother, and we are going to be discussing my expectations for South Africa as well as some additional comments I had for the trip.
Jason, what are your expectations from a personal perspective?
From a personal perspective, I've traveled a little bit. I've traveled to Europe, Austria, Germany, Italy, and that was nice to see that part of the world, but I've never gone anywhere as far south as South Africa and nowhere near as exotic. So from a personal standpoint, I'm somewhat traveled, but not as traveled as I would like to be, and I really want that international experience in college.
Jason, what are your expectations from a professional perspective?
From a professional perspective, the whole aim of this course is human-animal interactions, and through my studies and through my years at DelVal and before DelVal, I've seen how Americans interact with animals, and I've shadowed a few international students as well and see how they interact with animals. But just to see how people from other countries, natives from other countries, interact with those animals, especially production animals as well as wildlife, I'm really interested to see that. And that is something that I'm looking really forward to see not only how the natives interact with the animals, but also sort of their welfare and the laws that they have in place.
What are your perceptions with regard to what you expect to see?
What I expect to see obviously varies from what venue we're going to. Obviously, if we're going to the beef facilities, I expect to see cattle. If we go to the elephant sanctuary, I expect to see elephants. So I hope that wherever we're going, the species that's being highlighted, we can really see not only how they're housed, maybe how they're handled, and just really how our tour guides talk about them and how they interact if we see any farm hands or workers and how they interact with them. I think that would be very valuable knowledge to have, as well as sort of the key tools of seeing how humans and animals are interacting in South Africa.
Jason, do you have any additional thoughts related to the other stops on the itinerary?
One of my, I think, spots I'm looking most forward to are Mahalo Halo National Park and Kruger National Park, mainly for just the broad spectra of animals that we're going to see, especially birds. As everyone knows, I'm sort of a bird nerd, and so I'm hoping to not only get a population study of what we see, also maybe sort of a rudimentary ethogram, seeing whether the birds are on the ground, in the trees, flying, and whether they're in small groups, large groups, and something that I'm really hoping to see that I don't know how much we'll be able to see is sort of symbiosis between some of the smaller birds or the egrets with the hoofstock. As a zoo science major, one of the key sort of newer trends that's going on in zoos is mixed species exhibits, where you have more than one species in an exhibit, and that not only shows animal-animal interactions, but also that sort of creates a really nice picture for the zoo patron, in that this is what this place would look like, and this is how the animals would interact with each other. So I'm really hoping to see maybe some egrets with some like antelope or buffalo, and some oxpeckers and whatnot. And so hopefully we'll be able to see that, and I think that'll be something very interesting. Another stop that I'm looking forward to is the Cryoconservation Lab in Pretoria. I've never seen any sort of banking in that system, and so I think that that's a really interesting way to sort of freeze and conserve the population that way. And so I think that's a really interesting from both a genetics perspective as also from a phenotypic perspective as well. And just to see what sort of tissues they have looking online, I saw that they have like feathers and horn and other sort of thing, and so I'm really interested to see that. And that's a type of conservation that I don't believe we do in the U.S., and so that'll be something very internationally in my field that I would really, really enjoy. So right now I'm going to open questions to the floor. Grandma, if you would like to start.
Jason, I know last summer you really enjoyed working at the aviary in Pittsburgh, and I know they had a number of birds there that were being rehabilitated. And I noticed that you're going to be reading or having a lecture about wildlife rehab at the Rehabilitation Center. And I wondered what you expect to see there, and if you're interested to see how if they have birds there, how they're rehabilitated.
That's a really good point, and that will really broaden the spectrum of our human and animal interaction. The animals there will most likely be wild species. At the aviary, we didn't take in any wild species. It was all internal birds. So I think that that will be very interesting to see how they will treat these native species and to what sort of spectrum they have, and what kinds of injuries they'll take in, what kinds of injuries, if they do turn any away, why, and we'll definitely ask questions there. And also sort of to what extent, like, will they give them splints, will they give them medicine? So it'll be really interesting to see and sort of compare. I'm assuming it's going to be like a wildlife rehab center where it'll mainly be orphaned animals, but as well animals that have maybe like hit by cars or due to some human extreme. Dad?
So Jason, what do you expect from your visit to the local beef cattle operation, and how it might compare to similar operations in the United States?
I'm really interested to see that. I know that beef and dairy is very big in the U.S., and I want to see how that compares in South Africa. Originally, cattle were very large in South Africa. Cattle production was very large there. One of the Zulu tribes actually started in South Africa domesticating cattle, so I want to see to what point they're at. I personally haven't seen too many beef facilities. I've seen a number of dairy facilities, so it'll be interesting to sort of compare and contrast those two. But I'm hoping that it's very efficient for what they consider to be efficient, as well as what I consider to be efficient too. So hopefully those two sort of congeal together.
I noticed, Jason, that you're going to have a lecture when you're at Kruger National Park, and your reading is going to be about a giraffe. That was one of your very favorite animals as you were a child growing up. Every zoo we went to, we had to go find the giraffes, and if there was a baby, that was even better. So I'm wondering what you're expecting about your visit to see giraffes there. Kruger National Park.
I'm really interested to see their social structure. Giraffes by nature do not really have a social structure at all, like you would see with like great apes or even other types of hoofstock. So I'm interested to see sort of how they interact, especially if there is a giraffe calf, how the other males are very sort of a territorial, and they often like smack neck. So I want to see if there's a calf present, if they'll still be as territorial. But I'm really interested to see that, and especially to see how many different types we can see, because I believe there's 9 different species, and somehow they don't interbreed due to migration, but I'm really interested to see that. And I think we have time for one more question.
Jason, what do you expect from your visit to the elephant sanctuary?
I am really interested to see the elephant sanctuary. Elephants in captivity is sort of a controversy here in the U.S., so I'm excited to see sort of what they have to offer in South Africa, and also the size. The reason of the controversy is just elephants move so much, and so they need a very large space, and also their diet is also an issue. They just eat so much, and also the aggression that they sometimes have due to the fact that they are such a large animal, and people often don't sort of recognize that. So I'm interested to see how the personnel at the elephant sanctuary treat the elephants and how that works out. Okay, well, I think that's all the time we have. I look forward to talking to you guys. If you have any questions, I'll be on the plane for 15 hours. You might not want to sit next to me because you might hear me babble the entire time, but that's me, Jason Dahl, and so good luck in South Africa, you guys. I'm sure we're going to have a great time. Have a great day.